Hello, my name is Chris Kallal. I'm a territory agronomist for the Asgrow. I'm going to take a few minutes here and run through some data and positioning on our Asgrow mid to late group 3 products. All right, so here we're looking at the data, and in this cut, I've got everything compared to 35 XF1. So it's the product that's here in the crosshairs. Again, how do we read these graphs, these scatter graphs? Anything that's yielding above horizontal center are varieties that are yielding more than 35 XF1. Any varieties that are listed below horizontal center are yielding less than 35 XF1. Varieties to the right of vertical center are varieties that are wetter than 35 XF1, and varieties to the left of vertical center are varieties that are drier than 35 XF1. So now let's talk a little bit about the data. So this is, I'll just call out right out of the gate, this is one of the first times in years that I've seen 35 XF1 actually have a slim advantage over 38 XF1. Now granted, it's not very wide, maybe 3/10 of a bushel, but in 77 comparisons this year, this is the first time that, again, that I've seen 35s actually outpace 38s. So that's been a bit of a surprise to me when I ran the data. 40 XF1, I would say fairly typical for their performance. The relationship of those two products, 40 XF1 and 38 XF1 is relatively similar. Generally, 40 XF1 has been the highest yielding, then 38s, and then 35s. A little bit of shuffling on that this year, but again, those are all performing near the top. Couple new products that come in that you can see here on top the chart. So 33 XF3 would be the first one to call out. So a brand new 3.3 maturity, obviously having a great year. I would say the impression of most people, or the perception of most people, would be that the discrepancy between 33 XF3 and 35 XF1 is probably wider than that half a bushel that this cut takes in. But for 48 comparisons, again, in a lot of real estate of the state of Illinois, there's about a half bushel separating those two. 38 XF3, very similar in its performance, just about a half bushel over that of 35s. And then 39 XF3, which is a product that really wasn't on our radar, is showing up pretty decent in the data as well. Now, just to dive into just some of the products in particular, so 35s, really the trend is staying the same as far as that variety goes, that it does perform better as the yield environments climb, and that's exactly what the data is saying again this year. 38 XF1, as I said, this is the first time in years that 35s actually have a small advantage over them. That may change yet once we get a little bit more data in, because the margin is so slim between the two of them. But still a main focus for us is that product's got a ton of ability to go anywhere, and can do a lot of great things for us. 37 XF1 does show up fairly decent in the data, a little stronger than I thought it might. But it really is a key focus for us on more of those rolling variable acres. And that's really about the only place we utilize that variety, just to shake things up a little bit and get a little genetic diversity out there. 40 XF1 posting another solid year, but even, as I mentioned a while ago, maybe not quite as dominant as it's been in the years past. 33 XF2, doesn't show up terribly strong in the data. It's a couple bushel behind that of 35 XF1. I've had a lot of guys that have been pretty pleased with them on farm. But generally speaking, we are moving past 33 XF2s to go to the new 33 XF3. But I'm sure we will have some people that are satisfied enough with their 33 XF2s that they're going to rebuy them again for the 23 crop. Just to talk about the new stuff now, 33 XF3, again, having a very solid year. It's repeating its performance that we saw out of it as an EXP. And again, I mentioned this on the previous slide, probably not quite as strong in the data as what a lot of people would perceive it to be, but it is still showing up quite well. It looks like it's got broad acre adaptability, and I would encourage you to think about positioning yourself for this one to probably be a large volume product for us as we go into 2024. 37 XF3, we're going to take a hard pass on that product. Don't even worry about it. 38 XF3, this one, a little bit surprised to see it do this, but I guess maybe I'm over exaggerating that. it had a really good year as an experimental last year. It actually did outpace 38 XF1 as a experimental. We're a little bit of one of those types of people that we want to see it to truly believe it. We want to see it ourselves in our plots. And so lo and behold, 38 XF3 is repeating that again this year, where it is outpacing 38 XF1 by a slim margin. Looks like it's broadly adapted, so we could probably put the thing about anywhere. So we'll have some interest in that one as well, and have a hard decision on what to do as we roll into 2024 with 2 3/8 in the brand. 39 XF3 is a variety that was not on our radar really at all when we already had 38 XF1, we already had 40 XF1, we had this new 3/8 coming in, so 39 XF3 really wasn't even on our radar. It's having a very good year, actually. It looks like it's broadly adapted. Once I did learn the pedigree on the variety, it did make me smile a little bit, because it's got some products in it that were near and dear to my heart in years past. I put on there supply questionable, and really that's because we didn't crop plan for any of those to start with. So I'm not sure what we could get of that variety. It's possible we could get a little bit of them, but really, unfortunately, it's a full maturity for us, and it's going to be hard to make room for it. But it did show up quite well in the data. So I do appreciate your time. If you do happen to have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and be looking for another video on the earlier season Asgrow products for Illinois. Thanks.